Welcome back to the second part. Enjoy the video. So, pause the video now and attempt these two, and I'll see you again in a second. Hello again. So, firstly, we have sec squared x minus cos squared x equals the right-hand side. Again, we need to just ignore the right-hand side, and that is our answer that we're working towards. So firstly, we realise sec squared is 1 plus tan squared. And we know cos squared is 1 minus sine squared. So if sec squared is 1 plus tan squared, that's the same as writing it like that. And we have cos squared is 1 minus sine squared. So I've written it this way so we can really see the plus 1 and the minus 1, and they dissolve, don't they? So we're left with tan squared minus sine squared. Yeah, makes sense. So then we know that since sine over cos is tan, we can write that as sine squared over cos squared. Now, the reason I'm doing that is because when I look at the answer, it has a sine squared as a factor. And once I've got to tan squared minus sine squared, I haven't got a factor yet. So I'm looking for a factor. Once I see tan squared, I think, oh, I can write that in terms of sine. So now we need to put it into a form that we can factorize. And we've got it, haven't we? Yes, if we think of that as sine squared over 1, then the next bit will be this. So we can put it over a common base. So the lowest common multiple of cos squared and 1 is cos squared. So again, sine squared over x is an equivalent fraction to sine squared cos squared over cos squared, which we can then write like is on the right-hand side of the screen. And now we can factorize. So if we factorize that, we have sine squared 1 minus cos squared all over cos squared. I look at the answer and I'm so close to the sine squared, but I need to create sec squared minus 1. And I know sec squared can be written in terms of tan, and tan can be written in terms of sine over cos. So what I can do is pause for the wonderful graphics first. But what I can do is realize that the sec squared minus 1 is tan squared, and the 1 minus cos squared was sine squared. And so we now have the answer. Yeah? I hope that makes sense. Let me rewind that. So we had that and that. We got to here. And then we got to there. So we had sine squared over cos squared. That was the tan squared. And we have 1 minus cos squared, which is the sine squared. Yeah, so if I look at the pink one, and I subtract the cos squared, that gives me sine squared equals 1 minus cos squared. And then I've got the sine squared over cos squared. We know that is tan squared. Yeah, and I've written it that way, so you really want to be visualizing things that way. Now brace yourself again. Do that, man. So, hence, then are we finished? No. But the last bit would say, well, since tan squared plus 1 equals sec squared, well then sec squared minus 1 equals tan squared, as required. Yeah, I hope that makes sense. Obviously, you can rewind it. I've gone through it twice. Just write down the steps and, you know, look, common question would be, well, how do I know what steps to do? You just sort of do one step at a time. Yeah, it's a humbling topic. It is trig identities, and so I like it. And then the last one of the 4 examples was this. So hopefully you realise that the left-hand side we can factorise using a difference of 2 squares. Now, this bit, I did this with my class the other day, and I did it some long-winded way and obviously made everyone hate maths. So hopefully when I watch this again, they'll have faith in maths and me again. So I took the scenic route last time. Now this time, we can realise that cosec squared minus cot squared is 1. Yeah, because cosec squared equals 1 plus cot squared. It will follow that cosec squared minus cot squared equals 1. So this bit dissolves. Yeah, so it cancels down to 1, hence it dissolves. So we're left with this. And then if we look at it and we put it in terms of the regular functions, because when we consider the right-hand side, it is in terms of the regular functions only, I've got 1 over sine squared, which then is 1 over... so I've got cosec squared, which is 1 over sine squared, and I have cot squared, which is cos over sine squared. I can write that as a common base, agreed? As a common denominator. So we have 1 plus cos squared over sine squared. But look in the top right-hand corner, what is sine squared equal to? Exactly. So we're there. So we've shown the left-hand side equals right-hand side. And that is why we love maths. Yeah, gangster beanie. Those little diagrams are called beanies. That's all I've got to say about that. I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope it was useful. Yeah, have a good day.